Every single morning, as the sun began to paint the sky with its gentle, warm colors, a young boy would set out on the dusty roads of his small village. His feet pounded the earth, kicking up little clouds of dust with each determined stride. He wasn't just jogging. He was running with a purpose, a fire in his eyes that burned brighter than the morning sun. This was his ritual, his promise to himself, a daily declaration of his dream. As he ran, you couldn't help but notice his shoes, or rather, one shoe in particular. It was old, worn, and battered by countless miles. The sole was torn, flapping with every step like a wounded bird's wing, barely clinging to the rest of the shoe. Each time his foot hit the ground, you could almost feel the jarring impact, the lack of support. This wasn't a running shoe. It was a symbol of his struggle, a constant, physical reminder of the challenges he faced. Every step sent a jolt of pain up his leg. The broken shoe offered no protection, no comfort. It was a constant, nagging ache, a sharp protest from his body. But for this boy, the pain was just noise. It was background static to the powerful music of his dream. The dream of being a runner, of being fast, of being a winner. That dream was a powerful engine, pushing him forward when his body screamed to stop. He clenched his jaw, his face a mask of pain determination, and kept moving down that long, winding road. His solitary training didn't go unnoticed. Other runners, with their fancy gear and pristine, expensive shoes, would often see him on the road. They didn't see his heart or his grit. They only saw the flapping sole of his broken shoe, and they laughed. Their laughter was cruel, echoing in the morning air, meant to mock and belittle. They pointed, they whispered, they made him the butt of their jokes, completely missing the champion's spirit right in front of them. But the boy never gave them a reaction. He didn't shout back. He didn't glare. He didn't even slow down. His response was a powerful, dignified silence. He kept his eyes fixed on the horizon, on the path ahead, as if the mocking runners were nothing more than statues on the side of the road. With unwavering focus, he ran right past them, leaving their laughter to be swallowed by the dust he kicked up. His silence was louder than any words he could have said. It spoke of a resolve so deep that no amount of ridicule could touch it. His real training happened when the world wasn't looking, long after the morning joggers had gone home and the sun began to dip low in the sky, casting long, dramatic shadows across the fields. He was still out there, alone. He ran as the sky turned from orange to purple, with only the whisper of the wind for company. These were the moments that truly defined him. It was in this solitude, this quiet commitment, that he forged his strength, building his endurance one lonely stride at a time. Day after day, sunset after sunset, he trained in secret, his dedication known only to him and the fading light. The path of a runner is never easy, and his was harder than most. Sometimes his tired legs would betray him, a misplaced stone, a moment of lost focus, and he would find himself tumbling to the ground. He'd fall, hard, the rough dirt scraping his hands and knees. In those moments, lying there on the path, breathless and hurting, it would have been so easy to give up, to let the frustration and the pain win. But giving up was never an option. After every single fall, a familiar fire would reignite in his eyes. He would take a deep breath, push himself up, his hands gritty with dirt, and stand tall again. He brushed the dust from his clothes, winced at the fresh scrapes, and then, without a moment's hesitation, he would start running again. The sunset behind him seemed to cheer him on, a silent spectator to his incredible resilience. Getting back up wasn't just a physical act, it was a testament to his unbreakable spirit. Then, one day, a wave of excitement swept through the village. A poster was nailed to the community notice board, its bold letters announcing a grand village race. Everyone gathered around, chattering excitedly, their imaginations filled with the glory of the finish line. Among the crowd, standing quietly at the back, was the boy. He read the announcement, his heart beginning to pound not with excitement, but with a quiet, steady rhythm of purpose. This was it. This was the moment his silent training had been leading up to. The day of the race arrived. The starting line was a spectacle of bright colors and nervous energy. Runners bounced on their toes, they're brand new, top-of-the-line shoes looking like they'd just come out of the box. And then there was the boy standing amongst them, his old, torn shoe a stark contrast to the polished gear all around him. He could feel the stares. He could hear the whispers and the snickers. Doubt began to creep into the air, thick and heavy. Could he really compete against them? But beneath his nervous exterior, his focus was like a laser, locked on the path that lay ahead. The starting pistol fired, and the race exploded into motion. A surge of runners sprinted forward, a blur of speed and ambition, kicking up a storm of dust. In the initial chaos, it was all about raw power and explosive speed. The boy was in the pack, surrounded by the thundering feet of his competitors, each one vying for an early lead. The race had begun, and the ultimate test of heart versus hardship was underway. The initial sprint soon gave way to the grueling reality of a long-distance race. The early leaders, who had started with such explosive energy, began to falter. Their breathing grew ragged, their pace slowed, their confidence miles replaced by grimaces of fatigue. But while others faded, the boy seemed to find another gear. All those lonely mornings, all those painful evenings, all that silent dedication, it was all paying off. His endurance was a deep well he could draw from. Sweat poured down his face, but his stride remained steady and strong. He was passing them, one by one. The finish line was in sight. The crowd was roaring, a wall of sound and anticipation. And then, emerging from the pack, came the most unlikely of leaders. It was the boy, with his torn shoe flapping defiantly. He pushed through the last few meters, his lungs burning, his legs screaming. With one final, heroic burst of strength, he broke through the ribbon. There was a moment of stunned silence from the crowd, followed by an eruption of shocked and thunderous applause. Against all odds, the boy with the broken shoe had crossed the finish line first. In that moment, everything changed. The laughter that had once followed him like a shadow turned into cheers of genuine amazement and respect. The same runners who had pointed and mocked him now looked on in disbelief, their faces a mixture of shock and admiration. They clapped, not just for his victory, but for the impossible heart he had shown. The boy stood there, catching his breath, not with arrogance, but with a quiet, humble dignity. He had earned more than a trophy. He had earned their respect. As the sun rose the next day, the boy stood alone once more on his familiar dusty road. He held up his battered shoe, not as a symbol of hardship, but as a badge of honor. He looked at it and smiled. He knew the truth. The victory was never about the shoe or the gear or what others thought. It was never about what he had on his feet. It was, and always had been, about what he had in his heart. True strength doesn't come from the outside. It comes from the fire within. Thank you for watching. Remember to follow our channel for more inspiring stories like this one.